Window has shut, and here on the channel we are going to be reviewing the entirety of Aston Villa's business. We ended with about a net spend of 5.4 million, give or take, and we're going to be going through that when I give my overall ranking at the end. But first we're going to grade in a tier list all of our incomings and outcomings individually. So we're going to look at two different tier lists for that, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts and grade Aston Villa's transfer window as an entirety over this summer. It was marred by FFP, PSR and the European spending regulations or whatever they are. But if you do enjoy this type of content, please leave a like, comment down below your thoughts on our transfer window. Was it good or was it underwhelming? And turn notifications on when you subscribe as well, because then you won't miss a goddamn thing. But first, let's look at the players that joined Villa this summer. So there we have it down on the screen. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 incomings this summer transfer window. And as you can see, a few of them are already wearing kits that don't quite look like claret and blue, and they're going to be a bit of a crossover because 4 of our incomings, I believe, have already departed the club. But let's get into them. First, we are going to be looking at Ian Maatsen. Joined us from Chelsea for a deal around £37.5 million. He's young, 22 years old, a left back, which is a position we probably needed to look at youngening, if that makes sense. Is that even a word, youngening? Because Digne and Moreno were not getting any younger, let's be honest. He was in the Champions League team of the season and was a finalist last year, where he was on loan to Borussia Dortmund. And the deal kind of came up. Look, 37.5 million, yes, it's a lot of money, but I think that's probably the upper echelon that you would be willing to spend on a fullback. I think this one, all in all, gets an A for me. It was a position that we had to improve. Everyone knew that our left back position was an area that Emery would like to improve probably and make younger, which we have done. And although he isn't starting right now, there's going to be a bit of a bedding in period. He was playing in the Bundesliga last season. Going from that league to the Premier League is an adjustment period. I think, personally, it is a good signing. We move on. Jadon Philogene-Badace coming back from Hull City, where he had a breakout season. Again, another young player, 21, 22 years of age. Great season for Hull. We probably shouldn't have sold him, but I personally was very, very happy that he came back. I think he has all the promise of being Leon Bailey's natural successor on the right-hand side of Aston Villa's pitch, and, you know, a younger option. And if we're thinking about it selfishly for PSR reasons, we bought him for 15 million back from Hull City. A couple of good seasons with Villa, and he could be worth in excess of 30. Then we move on to Cameron Archer. Bit of an unfortunate one, really. We sold him to Sheffield United. We had that buyback clause where we had to buy him back if he was relegated. In that season, he eventually was. We bought him. We've had to sell him for less than I believe we bought him back for, or it was just about the same. So for me, it goes in D. We were tied into it, I guess, to an extent. But again, just a bit of a dodgy one. Next up, Ross Barkley, £5 million from Luton, who were relegated. I think it was a really, really shrewd bit of business. I think he adds a good bit of experience and depth to our team. He's not a signing that's probably going to set the world alight, but I think it deserves to go in that B tier for me. He is going to get game time. He does add depth to our midfield, and he had such a good season with Luton last year. If he can replicate 80 to 90% of that, Villa have got themselves a gem, especially for cup games, Premier League games against lower league opposition, in terms of your newly promoted clubs, etc., teams that end up struggling throughout the season. He can come in and give you 90 fantastic minutes in the middle of the pitch. We move on to Lewis Dobbin, and this one goes straight back in the D tier. I think this was just a PSR thing to get Onana over the line effectively, and we'll be coming on to him a little bit later. But we've signed him from Everton and then sent him straight back out on loan to the Championship. Not the youngest player in the world. He's in his early 20s. I don't really see him ever getting much game time for Aston Villa. I think we're just hoping that he probably has a good season with West Brom in the Championship, and then we can sell him to either West Brom themselves if they get promoted, or an upper Championship team. I don't know what happened to my voice there. I can promise we're back to normal now. Now, Samuel Illing Jr., I'm actually going to put this one... Oh, I'm floating around. I'm going to put it in C purely because of the ramifications of the fact that we sold Douglas Luiz as part of this deal. I think he has a lot of potential. Obviously, only a young player. He's got a good... Actually, you know what? No. We're going to go for B for Samuel Illing Jr. Obviously, back out on loan to Bologna. They are playing in the Champions League. They're actually playing Aston Villa. I do wonder whether he'll be cup tied for that. He really shouldn't be. I'm sure we've got a clause where he probably can't play against his parent club, but he's going to get game time in Serie A and in the Champions League. So a decent loan, and I feel like he will actually get game time for Villa in the future. We have our only S-tier signing. For me, it's Amadou Onana. We were screaming out for physicality in the middle of the pitch. We were also screaming out for physicality in defence. We didn't address that in this transfer window, but that will be spoken about in my full review. But Onana, for me, is, you know, the signing that we needed. We needed a big, bruising, marauding central midfielder, and that is exactly what he is. And for the first 2 games, he has looked like a revelation in our midfield. Really happy with that signing. And then Enzo Berenchia, I'm going to give it a C. Apparently everyone loves him at Villa. Everyone thinks he's in our future plans, but he's like 23, 24. He's only like a year younger than Kamara. He's older than the likes of Onana. He's only like a year younger than Tielemans, I think, as well. I don't know if I already said that, but if I did, I apologise. But he's then gone straight out on loan to Valencia. Again, it's a good loan. They're playing in the upper echelons of La Liga, I would imagine. I assume that they're in some kind of European competition this season. But when you sign a 23-year-old as part of that Douglas Luiz deal, or 24, however old he is, and then you're sending him straight out on loan, it's never good. And now we move on to Aston Villa's outgoings. Who did we let go from the club this summer? And we're going to be grading these based on if we've got a good deal for them effectively and if they should have left the club. Now, first off, Callum Chambers left as a free agent. S tier in terms of an outgoing. I know we didn't really get any money for him, but he was a player that was bought in. He's one of the Gerrard big contracts, and we just needed to get him gone. Actually, no, I can't give a free agent. I could put it in A. He needed to go, and he's gone to Cardiff, and he's going to get game time. Absolutely fine. Sinisalo had a fantastic season with Exeter City last year. We then just sold him for £1 million to Celtic when we have the likes of Robin Olsen still eating up our wage bill at the club. Not a fan of this sale whatsoever. In terms of the Cameron Archer one, again, it's going to have to go in D because we lost money. We signed him. He played, 270 minutes of pre-season, and then it's sayonara off to Southampton. I think he will do well at Southampton. I believe he scored in the Moose Energy Drink Cup for them. But again, in terms of an Aston Villa sale, I'm not a fan. Now, the Illing Jr. loan, again, as an incoming, I might have put him a bit lower. As an outgoing, this loan, if he plays, and again, it is a big if he plays, he might not play. He might get 190 minutes the whole season. We don't know. But if he does play, and he plays in the Serie A, is it the Coppa Italia, I believe, might be their version of the Cup, the Champions League regularly as well. He could develop. He's 21 years old, or 21, playing for a club that, finished 4th in the Serie A last season. It's a great loan move if he gets that game time, and there's no option to buy at the end as well. So we know he is definitely coming back to the club. The Dobbin one, again, it's another loan. We're probably paying a high amount of his wages. I don't know how he's going to develop into a Premier League player that quickly with one loan to West Bromwich Albion. For me, it is just one where we've just lost money on that one, and it was to get Onana in, so the context of it overall is all right, but again, not the best for me. Next up, Morgan Sanson. Yes, he was still playing for the club until this summer. Finalised a £4 million move to Nice in why have I just forgotten the name? The Uber Eats League, the Domino's Delivery Man League, the Farmers League that is League One. I've remembered it now. Again, getting £4 million for him, he never really set the world alight for us, is fair enough. Philip Marshall has gone out on loan to another lower league club. I don't think he will ever get any game time for Villa. I think we need probably to cut our ties with that one. Lino Sosa came in from Arsenal deadline day signing in January this season, actually it was. He's gone back out on loan to another lower league club. Again, I'm not really sure where his future lies, especially now we've signed Ian Matson. Louis Barry, now this loan, I'm putting it in S tier because yes, he has gone out to League One. Yes, he is in his early 20s. Could he possibly be getting a championship loan. But he played for Stockport last year. He's gone back there, and the start that he has made, he is a superstar at that club. And if he can carry on scoring not only the type of goals that he is, but the volume of goals that he is scoring down in League One, he could become, one of those players that just literally just jumps up, transitions straight in to being a squad player for Villa. We know he has all the potential in the world. Barcelona bought him when he was 15. I just think as a fit, that loan is brilliant. I think he will do very, very well down there. We move on to Moussa Diaby now. I'm going to put this in B tier because I would have liked to keep him at the club. But again, PSR, blah, 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 blah. We sold him for nearly £60 million. He didn't set the world alight for Villa last year. And 60 million, we made a profit on him. It is what it is. It's one of those signings, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? We then move on to the big one, the Douglas Luiz one. And this one I'll put in C. Now, you might think it would go straight in D because Douglas Luiz was such a crucial component of our team last year. But I would say to you this, our midfield has got better since Douglas Luiz has left. It's opened up the possibility of signing Onana, which we needed Onana's profile. And you might not want to hear it because I know I was a big fan of Douglas Luiz as well. I love the guy. But we needed Onana's profile in midfield more than we needed Douglas Luiz's profile in midfield because, and again, this is another controversial one, I'm not saying that he is as good as Douglas Luiz, but Yuri Tielemans is fulfilling that Douglas Luiz role perfectly fine and doing a good job of it. And again, we managed to get Onana in a profile that we needed in midfield way more than we needed a profile similar or like Douglas Luiz. So all in all, not bad. Again, it was a bit of a dodgy one because we got Illing Jr. and Berenchia instead of more money. We should have been aiming for 70 million for Douglas Luiz, really. But again, it was a PSR deal, and I think we all know that. Alex Moreno left the club on loan to Nottingham Forest. It's going in C tier, purely because we should have just sold him. I think we just need to cut ties now. He's never going to get back into the Villa team. It's just annoying that we couldn't find a permanent deal for him, but I wish him all the best. Enzo Berenchia, again, it's a decent loan. I'm going to put it in B tier. It's a decent loan. Valencia, a good team. I'm not 100% sure. Tell me in the comments down below. They must be playing in a European competition this season. But again, I just want to see exactly how that one develops. Kane Kessler-Hayden, this one looks even stupider now that Matty Cash has got an injury, but he went back out on loan to Preston North End where he's doing really, really well. I just don't know if I see a future for him at Aston Villa, if we're going to send him out on loan this consistently when we're so short in the right back position. So I think we just need to cut ties and probably just get a sale out of him. Tim Arogbenham, I'm going to put in B. Again, it was another one that opened up the possibility of an Onana transfer. We got 10 million for him and he didn't particularly get that many minutes for Villa last season. He's going to go on to have a fantastic career of that, I am sure. But again, probably could have got a bit more money to push it up to S or A, but at least he got a permanent move and he's completely off the wage bill, etc, etc. And then Coutinho, I am putting in D. He went out on loan to the Brazilian league, so you can only assume that we're going to be paying his I don't even want to know how high his wages are. His astronomical wages are going to be being covered by Aston Villa. There was talk of a contract termination. That's how it should have gone down. I can't believe he's still on our books. We need to just cut ties with him because I don't even know if he's a footballer anymore, to be honest. And there you have it. That is the overall overview of the individual players. So how would I grade this transfer window? Now, we're going to give it two gradings, a non-PSR grade and a PSR grade. Non-PSR grade, I'd give it a D. I don't think we've particularly improved our squad over this summer. We've lost Douglas Luiz, we've lost Moussa Diaby. Yes, we've added the likes of Maatsen and Onana, but I think overall we needed more. We needed a right back. We were pushing for Geertruida for 2 months. RB Leipzig come in and get the deal done in 2 days, purely because they have the money to spend, which brings me on to my PSR grade, and for that I'm going to give it a bang level down the line C, purely because perhaps there was other players that we could have sold differently. Perhaps there was players that we could have sold that are still at the club. Den Donker comes to mind. We should have got him off the wage bill. We should have just terminated Coutinho's contracts. We're still going to be paying his wages. Courtney Hawes what are the wages is he on? I don't even know, and he's still knocking around at the club. So I think it's two gradings for me. It's a D if we're going on non-PSR. The fact that it was a PSR window, and we all know it was a PSR window, gets a B from me. We could have improved more, we could have improved less. Ultimately, our hands were tied. We all know that PSR needs to be reviewed because it just squashes the ambitions of clubs like Aston Villa, like Brighton, who will probably get hit by it eventually, like Newcastle, who have already been hit by it. And I get that it has to protect, the lower teams that don't have that money to spend, but there needs to be some kind of equilibrium and some kind of balance, because we go in to a season of Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and pushing to get back into Europe, and we haven't really improved our squad due to financial fair play. We've only spent £5 million, and before the 30th of June, we were forced into the sale of one of our most crucial players in Douglas Luiz. But I am hopeful. I think Onana is a fantastic addition. I think that Jadon Philogene will go on to be a bit of a cult hero at Aston Villa, and I think Ian Maatson is our left back for the next 7 to 10 years. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you agree, disagree? I enjoy hearing all of your opinions, and of course I will be replying to every single one. So I'll see you down there. As always, up the Villa, and be nice to everyone.